Now, during this trial, there's been a lot of talk about Jimmy Rodgers' digital footprint. There's been surveillance video showing him at a Walmart with Curtis Wainwright. There's also text messages and his cell phone pinging off towers here in Southwest Florida. So there's a lot of different digital evidence here. But just how accurate is that evidence? And you might also remember he told investigators allegedly when they interviewed with him in Missouri, oh, I did this crime. It's only 15 to 20 years here in Missouri. What does all of that mean when it comes to this trial? I asked a criminal expert. Take a listen. So now we kind of have an idea of the defense's strategy, the state's strategy. Does any of this surprise you, or is this how you envisioned it going?
It's kind of how I anticipated it. The state's got a lot of investigation evidence that they've got to lay out. A lot of that the defense is not going to contest. According to their opening statement, they're not denying that Jimmy Rodgers is here. However, the state still has to prove it, and so they've got to lay out all of this electronic footprint, and that includes a lot of different things. It includes phone records, any text messages, phone calls that were made, but it's also going to include cell tower records. It includes other things. They had a GPS device, and so they've got to go and lay out all of the steps of where that GPS device took them, because it literally tracks the route and it tracks the places they stopped and the stopovers they made while they were here, and it might take them right to that Jarvis Road address where everything happened. So that's the electronic footprint that the state has to lay out to build their case, even though the defense isn't really fighting that part of it. They're fighting Jimmy Rodgers' actual involvement in the crime itself, not the fact that he was here. How
accurate are these digital footprints that they keep talking about?
A lot of it is, and it depends on the nature of it, because the GPS device, there's a couple things there. One, what address did they put in there? But then two, does the tracking of the GPS device match what was put in there? And so if they're able to lay out that electronic background to establish where it was electronically, not just what was put in there. You know, I could sit here and do a search for Missouri. That doesn't mean I'm in Missouri. But if you've got a cell phone tower that's pinging my phone in Missouri, that suggests that my cell phone was there. Doesn't necessarily mean that I was there. And those are the kind of things that if the defense was challenging that, that's where they'd try to pick it apart. A lot of these state witnesses, they're going to lay out, you know, the cell phone tower pings and the GPS information, everything like that. You're probably not going to hear a lot of questions from the defense. They're going to say, it doesn't tell you exactly where it was. It tells you he's in the area. So you can put Jimmy Ray Rodgers in Bonita Springs, but you may not be able to put him not just at the house, but in the house, which is what the state is arguing his involvement is.
And the prosecution and investigators, when they released the evidence in this crime, they said that Jimmy Rodgers told detectives, oh, well, that's only 15 to 20 years in Missouri. I'm fine with that. Isn't that in some way a confession almost?
It's an admission against interest, and anything a defendant says can be used against him if they can make it relevant. And it certainly sounds like he's talking about being involved in the crime. So I anticipate that statement's going to be relevant. The jury's going to hear that. It's going to be inflammatory because it really sounds bad, and that's something else that's going to be used against him.
And that was criminal defense attorney Spencer Cordell. We always appreciate his continued insight as we cover this trial. And we do want to remind you, we will be out here every morning and we will be recapping what is happening inside the courtroom and what you can expect each day. Our reporter Sandra Rodriguez is committed to bringing all of the details in this case inside the courtroom. And we also have our coverage online on fox4now.com. You also should download the Fox 4 Now app, because we will have a lot of information there, as well as be sending push alerts for breaking information.